Hello and welcome to the final episode of the Euphonos Legacy League. Today we're going to cover the post-final matchup and see how the frick this matchup went down. So, General Lunala has proven that they can beat the final boss, albeit through very strange circumstances, but hey, in the end it's all for fun, and General Lunala have picked up the win over Euphonos' radtastic creation. So let's kick things off with the first matchup here, the best of three multi-gen OU. We saw Memphis Depay beating Miyoko. Actually, the first matchup that happened, it was also 3 games. Because why not? So first off, in Generation 9, we saw the Ogrepon, who nearly killed the Slow King, however managed to kill the Rillaboom while Goldango paralyzed and O-Code King Gambit. And after Slow King died, Kyurem subbed to beat Goldango before losing to Terra-Fighting Deoxys superpower. Ogrepon then lost to Dragonite's E-Speed. Then Great Tusk then missed a head smash before killing Dragonite before Miyoko forfeited. So as you can see here, there were a couple of times where Miyoko could have played better, maybe preserve the Kyurem a little bit more, but then again he was preserving to the best of his abilities. And he was using Sulking to his full potential, but yeah, that moment where Rillaboom, when King Gambit lost to Goldango at turn 15, you can immediately feel the tide just shifting in favor of Memphis Depay. But ultimately, it was Memphis Depay who won. Also, that head smash was terrible miss. With 2 terrible misses, actually. Great Tusk could have easily murdered. Well, actually, no, because Ogrepon. But still, you could have at least put up a decent fight if he chooses to. Then we saw Generation 7. I would like to cover Generation 7 first before Generation 8 because Gen 7 I found most interesting first. So we saw the Tapu Koko nearly kill the Landorus with Hidden Power Ice, allowing it to set up rocks, as Miyoko's Tapu Koko set up screens and even taunted the Pinsir before dying to Landorus' Earthquake on turn 22. So very good mileage out of Miyoko there. Mega Tyranitar then set up the Dragon Dance, presumably going for the end of the world there, beating Landorus with a nasty Ice Punch, catching him off guard, only to lose to Tapu Fini after it missed 1 Stone Edge. But Magearna was eventually Miyoko's last win con, as it managed to set up the Thunderbolt and even hit the Focus Blast to kill the Heatran, dodging that Magma Storm though. And then ultimately, Miyoko just won with this Magearna, sweeping Memphis Depay's team with it very nicely. Then we saw Generation 8, where we saw the Tornadus confuse the Ferrothorn with Hurricane, then crit killed while Blaziken lost to Heatran. So this was very unfortunate. This crit kill from this thing, the Tornadus, turn 3, the Tornadus crit killing the Ferrothorn was very unfortunate for Miyoko, as Memphis Depay just kind of coasted off of that. Blaziken losing to the Heatran was bad, and then Landorus toxicking the Tornadus, while Victini killed the Heatran with Bolt Strike. Then we saw Dragapult being poisoned by the Gastrodon, while Melmetal killed the Beer Sharp before dying to Victini. However, Clefable tanked its V-Create, set up rocks before Rillaboom killed it with a Grassy Glide. Right here. Then we saw the Landorus losing to the Rillaboom in the end for Memphis to win. Very well played there for Memphis, and at least he ends up with a good record here, proving the why they have one of the better records of this entire tour. Next up is the best of 3 multi-gen OU between Jack Kusler and Waffle. Waffle winning in quite dominantly. 2-game fashion. But the catch, both players gentlemanly agreed to bring Mono Bug, which is very interesting. Generation 5, we saw the Volcarona defeating the Akaberry Pincer with a nasty flamethrower. Ooh boy, how Volcarona was that, but that helps. Jan Megagirl managed to crit kill the Fortress, which was very funny to see that hidden power fire putting into good use before killing Scizor before losing to Crustal's Rock Slide. Then we saw an interesting set. Hidden power fire Crustal beating the Fortress. Interesting. Volbeat though, but got to paralyze the Heracross and stalled by roosting until sacking it, eventually, letting Volcarona beat it. And even Jackson Volcarona suffered through, winning that speed tie, winning it with hidden power, I want to say hidden power rock. Burning Scizor, of course, with the flame body ability before beating it with flamethrower. Waffle very definitively beating Jack there. Generation 4, we saw a Yanma usage, defeating Scizor with a hidden power fire. Yanma beating Scizor. Hilarious. Then we saw Fortress tank the Heracross's close combats before eventually tanking Armaldo's hidden power fire, surviving on one, so that Waffle can explode it, tanking the Scizor's bullet punch with Babiri Berry to set up rocks before, of course, being sacked. Then Scizor managed to set up Swords Dance while dodging the Fortress Rock Slide on turn 12. Then Jan Mega finishing off the rest for Waffle to just win. Very well played for Waffle. Definitely a lot more usage came out of it, but hey, it's the nature of the game that we play. Next up, we have Banded Body Press versus Mentality in Kamov Chaos. Banded Body Press managed to get a win with this team. The team that we've seen countless times that always seems to win Kamov Chaos. So, Mabostiff set up webs. Yes, you heard me correctly. Mabostiff actually set up webs. However, he double-clicked to let Momomola burn itself. I'm like, okay, you're a fast clicker there, buddy. Managing to double-click there. Reuniclus got poisoned before beating Mabostiff with the Mind Blown. Then we saw the Toxapex poison the Zeraora, who killed it with an Oblivion Wing right around here before dying to its Life Orb. You know, the poison was also enough, the Life Orb didn't help much, and boom, Zeraora was immediately sacked. While Regirock managed to burn Lopunny, who exploded to crit Oko the Tangrowth. Well, it wasn't a crit. Regirock actually died to a crit. Tangrowth just died to an explosion either way. Maybe makes me think it was... Well, it's not Guts. I wish it was Guts, but still. Then Zeraora managed to defeat Megalodios before Blissey got chipped and burned. Mentality forfeiting in the end for the victory for Banded Body Press. It was a very dominant affair. From Banded Body Press. Managing to win with that. Very well played. Then we saw the cap game between Earthflax and Seth, and I think this may be the most usage I've seen out of Cap in quite a long time. 6 Cap Mons. Told you you can make a team based off of him and not use pre-existing Pokemon as your support. You can make a fully fledged team in in SS Cap and make it work. And lo and behold, it did happen. Colossal manages to knock off Voodoo's choice specs, which I gotta say, was that a roll? Was that a roll that, the Voodoo was able to not kill the Colossal? Probably. It survived the Focus Blast, and then Toxic the Slowbro before dying to its Scald, while Tornadus knocked off Pajantom's Choice Band, who Toxiced it in return, even using Outrage. Jumbao, though, missed a Focus Blast on Ferrothorn, while Tomahawk managing to hit its own Focus Blast, and Oko the damn Ferrothorn. So, vindication there. As Smokemoto, which is a great name, Smokemoto set up rocks before Voodoo decided to kill it with a Dark Pulse before it died to Jumbao. Then, after Zoroark died and Leviathan died to a future sight, we saw the Tornadus miss a Hurricane, allowing Jumbao to kill the Slowbro before Seth ultimately forfeited. Because he couldn't win, Jumbao was way too strong, and, tracing the Regenerator was very, very well played, sir. Earthflax picking up a pretty good win, I'd say. Then we saw the Usum RU game between Clem and Burn, and this is a very good indication of how skillful, how skill matters in a very basic tier like Gen 7 RU. We saw the Mandibuzz taunted and Toxic the Gigalith while also dodging the Golbat Super Fang, allowing Mismagius to sub up until Golbat killed it with an Infiltrator Brave Bird. Yeah, Burn, I think, forgot that Infiltrator goes through sub. So it was not wise for, it was not wise for Mismagius to try and sub up when it's got Infiltrator. So, of course, Nidoqueen eventually killed the Golbat with Ice Beam. Gastrodon, however, got a lucky break, freezing the Golisopod right here, before Gigalith was eventually sacked and allowed Stoutland to come in because it's Sand Rush. Stoutland killing the Golisopod in return, while Metagross eventually carried on and defeated Bronzong. Then we saw the Metagross actually use Bullet Punch after Mandibuzz died. We saw Metagross actually did an extremely funny thing. It used Electrium Z right here. Eventually using Bullet Punch as well to kill off the Mandibuzz for priority's sake. However, lost to Mega Blastoise. And Tangrowth got crit killed by Ice Beam. However, Gastrodon manages to Toxic it and stalled it, but to kill it and eventually beat Nidoqueen for Clem to win. A very confusing RU game for Burn. Very close. It could have been very, very bad for Clem, but it was all worth it in the end once he knew that Gastrodon was a winning play. And also, that hard switch to Nidoqueen was very odd. Like, I think Burn would have won if he didn't do that. Next up is the Oras UU game. Lara versus TTK, one of the supposed hype matchups of the entire week. We saw, of course, the Metagross Toxic the Seismitoad, while Slowking paralyzed the Empoleon, while Crobat Roost stalled before dying to Metagross's Earthquake, catching him on the Roost on turn 14, while Mamoswine defeated Seismitoad with Freeze Dry. Clearly that's a special Mamoswine right there. Hardy, hardy, har. And Aerodactyl Mega with an Ice Shard right around here. Very nicely done. Then we saw the Empoleon crit killing the Rotom with Scald, tanking the Sylveon's hidden power. I believe it was ground. To defeat it with Scald before dying to Metagross. Then Slowking got burned, tried stalling out against Seismitoad and Florges to no avail, because Toy-Time King had literally many Mons to choose from, and it was also one Mon left, so we couldn't swap out with Regenerator, until Lyra eventually forfeited, allowing TTK to win. Very well played win for TTK. Then we have the last game of the series, the Society versus Kazin. This was played last. I'm glad it got played because, you know, Lunala were up 3-4 and they needed one more win, and the Society was able to pick up this nice win. Ferrothorn Toxic the Ho-Oh, which was Society's first mistake, but got rewarded for it by burning Tyranitar in return, which Xatu ultimately killed, dying to its payback in return. That's a nice trade-off there for Xatu against the T-Tar kill. Latios then defeated Arceus Fighting, which Staraptor took out the Ferrothorn with itself, with a nasty-looking Brave Bird there. Very, very well played, sir. Ho-Oh, though, crit killed the Kyogre on turn 17, eventually beating itself with Arceus Fighting to win Society this very, very short game. And then we saw the 1v1 series between Uwu and Euphonos. Euphonos and Uwu decided that would be very appropriate to end DPP 1v1 with some Cap. Yeah, they added Cap Gen 4 1v1, which I didn't know. I thought the Cap started with Generation 5, but hey, I'm not a Cap player. But they are. So we saw Game 1. We saw Euphonos win with a Rotom Leaf Storm over Krillowatt. Very, very good. Not turn 2. Game 2. Game 2, we saw the Colossal managing to defeat the Shuckle by taunting the thing, avoiding that power trick and earthquaking it, giving Uwu that first win. Game 3, we saw the Pyroke versus Kitsuno battle, and Pyroke defeated the Kitsuno with a flamethrower after that Iron Defense play, and eventually Shadow Strike not killing Pyroke, who killed it back with flamethrower. So Uwu was leading. Next is turn 4. Cyclone catching the Gyarados, Dragon Dancing to immediately Thunderbolt and kill it. Well, actually, no, it probably doesn't focus Ash. And then Game 5, it was 2-2. Final battle. You saw the Cyclone defeat the Mamoswine with a Hydro Pump, giving Uwu that final win, and Euphonos to lose. How fitting is it that the final game in this order, we see the final boss get taken down by Uwu, who defeated Noxel twice, and then ended up beating Euphonos. So that's the end. It's over. No predicts to be made, but that is the end of the Euphonos Legacy League as we know it. Euphonos has humbly retired after this from competitive battling. And I want to thank Euphonos for hosting, giving us the opportunity to showcase 8 tiers that wouldn't have seen the light of day, but nevertheless got played, and, you know, everyone had fun. Everyone had fun. There was little to no drama. It was all in good fun. And again, I appreciate Euphonos giving me the opportunity to provide my voice to this tournament to make things a little more, you know, analytical, as I normally do with the BLT videos. So thank you, Euph, for this. Thank you, Euphonos, for this time, and thank you so much for watching. Please like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe. Click that notification bell so you wouldn't miss a video once it comes up. And Euphonos, we will see you So long, partner. But in the meantime, keep watching my videos because we got BLT coverage to do. Anyway, this has been Mikoy, signing out. Thanks for watching the Euphonos Tour, everyone.